Hello and welcome to episode 202 of Controller Club, the friendly face gaming space, a podcast where three friends from three continents share in one love, and that is video games. On today's show, Star Fox is back. We have some Mortal Kombat 2 thoughts for you, and is Mixtape an early Game of the Year contender? We'll discuss all that and more, but before that, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Klein Feltz, and alongside me today, as always, are two of my best friends in the whole wide gaming world. First, coming to us from across the pond, it is the digital art and daredevil himself, Tom Drew. Tom, how's it going?
It's going good. Yeah, it's a big gaming week. Gaming movie release, a lot of other gaming releases that we're going to talk about this show. I feel like it's going to be a bit of a packed one. So yeah, I'm excited to get into all of it.
Yes, it is going to be a very busy show, but we're going to have so much fun doing it. Also joining us today, it is journalist extraordinaire, the Australian abroad / the Canadian in training, Lauren Rouse. Lauren, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. It's not a Star Wars related podcast today, but we did have May the 4th this week, and that was very exciting. I had a great May the 4th, probably the best one I've had in years. I got to see the IMAX preview of The Mandalorian and Grogu, which was like those free fan screenings they were doing at IMAX cinemas. And I have to say, I know this isn't a movie review podcast, even though we're reviewing a movie this podcast, but I was like skeptical on this one, kind of like everyone, like wasn't really super sold on trailers and things like that. I have completely changed my mind. Like, I don't know what they did in those 20 minutes, but I don't know if it's like what the final film is going to be, but I was like, this rocks. I think we're going to be okay.
Okay. We're just a couple days away, really, at this point, from a new Star Wars film, which is
like 2 weeks.
Absolutely bonkers. Yeah. Yeah, like 10, 12 days. It's not this Friday, but the Friday after. I'm looking forward to it. As somebody who hosts a Star Wars podcast and has never gotten to talk about a new Star Wars movie on said podcast, we are very much looking forward to it over at Reckless Rebellion. We'll be doing a review of that over there. Yeah, the first time, I guess we started the podcast 4 years ago, and you haven't had a Star Wars movie to talk about.
That's crazy to think about.
Kind of crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. 3 of the Reckless boys are actually going to be together in a theater next Friday, seeing the movie together in Orlando. I will not be there.
Nice.
But we will be hopping on a podcast immediately after their showing and doing our deep dive review. But this is a video game podcast. We're not here to talk about Star Wars. Although, Lauren, I did notice the posters going up behind you. Got a Mando poster. I think you have 2 Mando posters. Devil Wears Prada, Supergirl. The room is it's coming together slowly but surely.
Yeah, we got given these posters at the screening, and I thought they were pretty cool. So it's on display. And yeah, only the Japan unpacking is only just finished for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So these are like, I mean, you can't see them, but the posters are like the Japanese movie posters Tom and I picked up at the cinema. So I think they look cool. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty sick.
Well, let's get into the show. As we said, it is a very busy one with the news we choose. Tom Drew, give us that jingle.
It's the news we choose. Yeah.
Lauren, I know you mentioned in your Mando and Grogu thoughts that we were a little skeptical about it. Let's talk about something that maybe some of us are a little skeptical about as well. Star Fox is back. Lauren Rouse, take it away.
What a segue. Okay, so yes, this week, Nintendo announced a new Star Fox game remake. So I pulled this from Tom Phillips at IGN, who wrote, an impressive-looking new Star Fox remake has just been announced for Switch 2 via a shadow-dropped dedicated Nintendo Direct broadcast. The game is simply titled Star Fox and is a ground-up remake of Star Fox 64. Today's reveal follows the character's recent appearance in the Super Mario Galaxy movie and a recent major leak that pointed to a new game in the franchise, the first for nearly a decade. Once again, you'll be piloting an R-Wing over the skies of Corneria and other planets alongside Falco, Peppy, and Slippy. Level layouts will be familiar to anyone who has played the original Star Fox 64, though the game has received a huge graphical overhaul. The game appears to remain an on-rails experience, albeit with some control over your craft's movement to boost, brake, and of course do a barrel roll. Sections in the Landmaster ground tank and Blue Marine submarine are also again included. Switch 2 mouse controls have been added, and 2 players can take control by sharing a Joy-Con with a friend, with one controlling the R-Wing's movement while another mans the ship's guns. Alternatively, you can enjoy a retro feel by using the Switch's N64 controller. While the story of the game may be familiar, Nintendo says it has added free cutscenes, adding new story movements between characters, expanding on the game's narrative. This will be out on Switch 2 June 25. Okay, so this was announced out of the blue. They said, like, this Nintendo Direct starting in 15 minutes. Everybody get online. And we were like, we didn't even have time to discuss if we were going to go live or react or anything like that. So it was very out of the blue. But Klein, you teed up that you're a little skeptical. Say more.
Yeah, I'm very coming into this, coming off of really the Mario Galaxy movie. I've been excited for Star Fox, especially seeing Glenn Powell, seeing that anime intro that we see of the character in Super Mario Galaxy. It was just such a uh, cool way to bring this character back into our lives, and I think a lot of us were feeling that high. So we get this announcement. I'm excited. There was the rumors of the new Star Fox game. Obviously, we can get into now, or we can talk about at a later date. Now that this is out there, if the other part of that leak, which was the Ocarina of Time remake, is that going to happen now? It sure as hell seems like it. But I sit down, I watch this direct. We're about to start Reckless Rebellion on Wednesday. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, this isn't doing it for me. It isn't doing it for me. I thought we were going to be getting a full-fledged new Star Fox game. Of course, Star Fox 64, an absolute classic. Some would argue the only good Star Fox game that's ever been made. But we're getting another remake. Okay, cool. I'm okay with that. Remakes are fine. I cannot stand the look of this game. I don't think yes, it is getting a bit of a graphical overhaul. But I find these environments, they look very Switch One-y to me. They look very last gen, and what they have done to this cast of characters is appalling, quite frankly. I think they look ugly. I think they've taken all the personality out of these characters. I think Slippy is probably the only one that still has some level of like character built into his design. I really liked the Star Fox characters for their big expressive eyes. They felt like Disney animated characters, whereas this looks like they look like Fantastic Mr. Fox puppets. And I know these character designs have been very divisive so far. This is kind of a hot button topic amongst Nintendo fans. Am I going to play this game? Probably. I like Star Fox. Star Fox 64 is a great game. I'm just like, what's going to happen when the next Smash Bros. Gets announced and this is the Fox that's going to be in there? This is the Falco that's going to be in there? Yuck. Like, I don't like that at all. So I'm like, that is where my biggest point of contention is coming from. Is just, I don't know why we had to redesign these characters as drastically as we did. If they had done something to maybe make them look a little more like Glenn Powell's version of the character from the Super Mario Galaxy movie, I would have been into that. I think the cardinal sin of this direct actually is the fact that they showed us that sequence, that introduction sequence from the movie before they showed us the game. And it made me think the stuff in the game looked even worse. Had I not seen that, I would have, okay, like, yeah, they look different. But having that point of comparison is really, really tough. So that's kind of where I'm at on the Star Fox remake. I don't know. Also, this is like the third 64 remake we've gotten. We've remade this game so many times. Technically, Star Fox 64 is a remake of the first Star Fox game. And then we also get the 3DS one. Then on DS, there's Star Fox Command, which borrows a lot of elements from 64 with a few added things here and there. I don't know if there were a lot of people clamoring for 64 to be the one that got the treatment.
So I, like you guys, I scrambled to watch this direct because it was like, yeah, it's happening in 15 minutes. Okay, I guess I'll watch this thing and see what it's about. And yeah, to be honest, when I was watching it for the first time and they reveal the character designs, I was like, oh, they look weird. They look kind of jank. But to be honest, the more I've kind of sat with it, I think I'm on the opposite side.
Don't do this, Tom. Don't do this.
Because if you look back, you go back to those original, the artwork for the SNES
yeah,
games.
they look like the puppets in that artwork. Yes, they do.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. I think it's kind of cool that they have harkened back to that a little bit. And look, yeah, you're right. They've remade this game so many times. I would have preferred a new game, to be honest. But I think if they're going to remake it again, do something crazy like this. I think it's kind of cool that they just took a big swing and they look like these kind of off-kilter, weird, like semi-realistic animals in a way. I think it's the only thing that kind of gets me, and people have like joked about this, is that like Fox looks kind of like he has like a little bit of a hunchback.
Yeah.
Which he looks a little bit goofy. But I don't know, I think there's a little bit of charm to it. I actually I've never played a Star Fox game properly, so this probably will be my first experience with a Star Fox game. I'm kind of into it. Will I get a day one? I'm not sure. It is slightly cheaper than other Switch 2 games at this point. So I am intrigued. Yes, for sure. I would have much preferred like a new game. I'm hoping this is the case where it's like similar to like Metroid Prime Remastered, like they released Metroid Prime Remastered as like a test bed, and then like, okay, now we're gonna do a fully new Star Fox game. If this does well, which I'm pretty sure this will do decently well because they're releasing on the Switch. So um yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of into it. But Lauren, like, what did you think of these weird Star Fox characters designs?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have really zero history with Star Fox. The first time I played a Star Fox game was at the Nintendo Museum, and I can't
Yeah,
remember which one it was. I think it was 2. Is there a second one?
There
Star
is,
Fox
and
2?
it was like hidden away for a long time. Star Fox 2 is
oh
like one of the
yeah.
great like mysteries of Nintendo, but they've like it might have been 2 because they might have had it out on display.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know. I played one of them, and I was like, I found it really difficult. And I was sort of not, I didn't really know what I was doing. I mean, obviously, you only have sort of like 6 minutes to play these games at the Nintendo Museum. So I didn't get the full experience, but I was like, oh, I don't know about this. I think it was very different to what I thought it was. And that's on me. Like, I just didn't know what these games were. I didn't realize that they were completely just vehicle battles, basically, or like
Mm.
aerial missions, ground missions, underwater missions, it seems, in this game. And I like those kinds of things in small doses. Like, I like it when it's combined with some maybe open world exploration or narrative elements. I'm not sure that I am interested in a game that's just 100% that all the time. And that's just like, that's on me. It
Lucky
might
for
just
you,
not be for
Lauren,
me.
this game notably only a couple hours long. Like you say,
Oh,
It's pretty
small
short.
doses. Like this, it does tell a story. There is story elements in there, but they're charging. That's why you're seeing the price a little lower than a full price game. Like you can beat Star Fox 64 in probably less time than it took you to beat Mixtape. Like it is like maybe 2 hours, maybe.
interesting. I wonder if that will have changed slightly with this version, particularly if they're adding multiplayer and that kind of stuff. Which
Yeah,
was
the
that
idea
in
of
the
this
original?
franchise in the original is the idea is like you are doing these different routes through the levels over and over and
Mm.
over again and getting different experiences, but you can run through it so fast.
Well, regardless, I think I'm kind of into it. I don't have any issue with the character designs. Like, obviously, I don't know what they really looked like previously. I think they look exactly what you would expect from this day and age. I thought the visuals, like the graphics of the game, looked amazing. What's the issue? Klein has
I've
pulled
just
up
sho-
a picture for you on the
I've just
screen.
pulled up this is what they used to look like and this is what they looked like in the last game that was HD. What was wrong with this? I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
That it's
I
2026.
I like these designs, but I'm also like, we could do something different. We could try something new. We could take a swing.
They're going to look so weird next to Mario in the next Smash Brothers. Like it's going to be jarring.
I hope the next Mario movie they change its design to look like the new
Just a
game.
human?
Yeah,
I mean,
just
did you have an issue with Fox's design in the Mario movie?
No, I loved it. He looks very different in
I mean, he
this
looks
new
a little
design.
less sort of fluffy, I suppose. He looks a little bit more like, I don't know, edgy in this version.
It's the eyes.
Um,
The eyes really are bugging me. They like the expressive eyes of the movie, the older games, like they look like Disney characters. These don't look like Disney characters.
I did find it really funny that there was a portion of the direct like dedicated to using the AR like
oh my
filters where
god.
you can implant your face onto Fox's face, and there was just like this guy doing expressions and watching them mirrored onto Fox. I was like, this is very funny. Like, so
Yeah, I want to
Nintendo
try
of
that.
them.
I really want to try that. It looks hilarious.
But all in all, I think it looks pretty cool. I don't think I'm going to be getting this immediately. I'm interested, I think, particularly in the multiplayer stuff. Like, I think
Mm.
a cool co-op aerial combat kind of game is sort of missing in my life right now. I don't think I've really had that since the Star Wars game. Was it Star Wars Squadrons?
Oh
Which was
yeah.
extremely difficult. So I didn't really love it. So
Mhm.
I'm like, this could fill that sort of void. And I'm intrigued to try it, but yeah, it's not like on the top of my list right now. I think I would have preferred, like everyone else, a new Star Fox game, but maybe they're just sort of testing the waters to see if people are ready for this, and then this will become part of their like regular roster.
I'm not like basing this on any reports or anything that I've seen, but I would like to think that there is another Star Fox game in development. I don't know if you include him in the Mario movie and have all this like cross promotion going if this is the only thing you have going with the character. Like I bet we're going to see a lot more Star Fox in the next 5 years. Whether it be in the Mario movies, in his own movie, in another game on top of this. I just can see this is Nintendo. This is them making an investment into this franchise.
Yeah, because they've got plenty of stuff on the go as is with like they have so many franchises going like Fire Emblem, Pikmin, Metroid. They've revitalized a lot of franchises through the Switch, and like why not do the same thing with Star Fox? I think it makes a lot of sense, and we know at this point, Kin Krista, who used to work at Nintendo, basically came out and said like that the whole rumor of like Nintendo develops games and just kind of sits on them and waits for the right time to release them, that is true, at least for the Switch era. That's what they were doing. So I'm pretty confident that that's what they're going to be doing going forward. So yeah, I'd like to imagine that they've at least got another Star Fox kicking, and maybe that will be like a return to like the traditional kind of art style that you're kind of more looking for, Klein. So that both of those kind of audiences are captured, I guess.
I would have loved the art style from the movie when he does the flashback.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah,
like
the
that
2D.
kind of anime inspired style. It's very not Nintendo to do that though.
Speaking of Nintendo, Tom Drew, your story of the week. Nintendo Switch 2 prices going up.
Yeah, so Star Fox might be a little bit cheaper than usual, but the Switch 2 might not be anymore. And yeah, this comes from Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life. And they say Nintendo has announced that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be going up in price globally, with Nintendo Switch Online also receiving a price hike in Japan. Hardware price revisions are effective from 25th of May 2026 in Japan and the 1st of September in Western markets. Nintendo states that the changes are due to, quote, changes in market conditions and the global business outlook. And they have a quote here saying, quote, we sincerely apologize for the impact these price revisions may have on our customers and our other stakeholders, and we deeply appreciate your understanding, end quote. The changes affect all Switch models in Japan, but only the Switch 2 in the West. So here are the hardware pricing changes from some of the relevant regions that we're concerned about, basically. So in Japan, the Switch OLED model is going from 38,000 to 48,000 yen, so 10,000 yen increase, and that's similar across with the Switch 2 as well. In the US, the Switch 2 is going from 450 to 499 USD, so it's a $50 increase. Similar in Canada, going from $629.99 to $679.99, so another $50 increase. And in Europe, $469.99 to $499.99, so a €30 increase. And in the UK, they didn't announce there is going to be a price increase, but they didn't announce what the increase would be yet, so we don't have that data just yet. And yeah, like I mentioned, Nintendo Switch Online will also be raising its prices in Japan starting July 1st. So this is another case of a big console maker raising their prices. PlayStation's done it now, Xbox has done it now, and now Nintendo is like, yep, we're going to have to raise these prices. I mean, I think we probably all have a similar sentiment, but what do we think about this, Lauren? Do you have any kind of take on Nintendo raising their prices here for Switch 2?
I mean, I'm glad I bought a Switch 2 now. I which was a large part of the reason of me just kind of pulling the trigger was those rumors of a price increase. So it doesn't really surprise me at all. I think they're doing a little bit more of a modest increase compared to what PlayStation did. Like that was, I think, over $100 increase, or even 150 in Australia, in between like launch and now. If they've increased it multiple times. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty early in the Switch's lifetime for it to be getting a price increase. We're talking about just over a year now. And I did see a lot of like pictures and videos of people in Japan who are now like Switches are completely sold out. There are queues like hours long, people trying to get their hands on Switches. So it has sort of driven this like frenzy. But yeah, it's just kind of the reality that we're in now. Like no price is ever fixed, which is kind of frustrating, kind of scary as consumers. And yeah, I guess that chip shortage is really real. Like we're really seeing the impacts now.
Yeah, I wonder what the point is that these prices will get like too much where it will impact sales, and they people are become unwilling to invest in these things. I mean, the Switch 2 is so popular at this point that I feel like it can weather the storm of being able to raise their prices at this point. But yeah, I just don't know how sustainable this will be going forward. But Klein, are you glad you bought a Switch 2 when you did as well?
Yeah, I definitely am. It's interesting that we're living in, we've said it many times, we're living in a world where these consoles, it's like real estate, where the best time to buy real estate is now, because the price is just always going to go up. I didn't think I would expect that to be the case with my Nintendo consoles as well. But as you mentioned, Lauren, it's just kind of like that's the reality we're living in, this race for AI causing massive chip shortages across the board. It makes me really scared for something like the Steam Deck, or not Steam Deck, the Steam Machine, which was announced at the end of last year and is still supposedly coming this year. But it's, what is that thing going to cost? How many price increases internally has that had since it was announced 6 months ago? And I think Nintendo here, they pushed it, I think, as far as they could, because there's been a lot of back and forth really since last September or October of, are they going to increase it? Will they want not increase it? And they really, really pushed it here. It was a bit of a change this time around on the Switch too, because Nintendo often, a lot of console makers will be like, okay, we're gonna subsidize the price of a console, loss lead it, so we'll lose money on it, but we make money on the software. Nintendo traditionally doesn't do that. And the Switch 2, because coming off of the Switch is so popular, they wanted people to make the transition. They opted for, I think, the first time ever to do that with the Switch 2. And so they have been selling the Switch 2 at a loss since the beginning. And so now they're bringing it up. Obviously, things have gotten more expensive. I'd be interested to know if this brings it up to a point now where they aren't selling at a loss. Is this where it initially, probably, if they had just done the traditional Nintendo thing, should have been or would have been? I don't know if they would ever, Nintendo won't ever reveal that, but if some industry analyst wants to look at it, I'd be interested to know. Just, yeah, it is, things are getting more and more expensive, and eventually they're just going to price people out of this stuff. And it's not even a fact of the stuff's going up, everything else is going up too. It's not just our PlayStations, but our eggs and our milk and the food we eat and the places we live, and wages haven't caught up to that. So eventually it's going to come to a point where we're going to have people having to decide, oh, do I want the next console generation, or do I pay rent, or do I buy groceries? And that's a really crappy place to be, because the thing about gaming for a long time is it has always had a level of finance, you needed some finance to get into it, but it was fairly accessible. You could buy a Game Boy and play games on it. You could buy a GameCube and play games on it. And you know what? Maybe when the PlayStation 2 comes out, day one, I'm not there. It's too expensive. 3 years later, it's going to be half the price, and I can get in there. That's just not going to be the case anymore. And it's I find that really sad, because I think we're going to lose a whole bunch of people who would have had access to these things before, that won't make the jump, and will continue to stick to their, hey, I have a PS4, it plays Fortnite, I'm fine here. And they'll just continue to play that for the next 10 years. And then you're going to have these console manufacturers having to really, really squeeze things even tighter, because the next Naughty Dog game on PS5, on PS6, let's say, that no one makes a jump to, how do you justify spending the money you would justify to do that? It's just it's a really, really, really tough yarn that we've spun here, and I don't know what to do to get out of it, other than computing, processing power just getting cheaper all of a sudden, which I don't see happening anytime soon.
It's tough. I think in Nintendo's case, I think the one kind of thing that, I mean, I can't see into the future, but I think one possibility is that the Switch 1, had the base Switch, but then eventually they also released the Switch Lite. So I think they could do a similar thing with the Switch 2 of releasing a less powerful model that can still play Switch 2 games. Um, that is at a more affordable price, and maybe that's how they counteract being able to get people at a lower price point. But I just don't know how long or how far that can, far along we'll have to wait to get to that point. And at the same time, will people even want a slightly less powerful Switch 2? I guess you can play hypothetically Switch 2 games on it, but a lot of people already have the Switch. So if the other is it really worth it to make that jump for most people, I'd wager to say probably not, because of how like invested people are in the Switch and how good like the Switch One is as a console as it is. Like there's such a like massive library already. So yeah, it's tough. I don't know what they can do other than like either charge people more at the entry price or charge people who are already invested in these ecosystems more because they're the ones who have the money already and are already invested in. So it's like, well, I guess I'll spend X amount of money to play this, like you're saying, Klein, like the next Naughty Dog game or whatever, because they want to play it and they can afford to. But eventually, yeah, just going to come to a breaking point. But I guess we'll see when that is.
Do you think that the timing of this price increase announcement was strategically timed with the Star Fox announcement? Because they were like, hey, it's going to be more expensive, but look, new Star Fox. Like I feel like Xbox did something similar, right? When they were increasing Game Pass, but they were like, oh, look, trailer for this that you're going to play on Game Pass.
Yeah, that
I mean, it
mean,
has it's
makes
part
sense.
everything's part of the calculus, right? Like
Yeah.
it's all I don't know how reactionary it all is, but like it's everything's accounted for. I wouldn't be surprised.
I just don't know if Star Fox is enough. Like I just like on the whole, like I know I like Pokemon Pocopia was the system seller for me. That got me to buy in. But I really just feel like, and I know it's only been a year, there hasn't been like a huge library of Switch 2 games that are compelling enough to make people either upgrade or buy it now if they haven't already.
Mhm.
And we still don't really know a huge amount about what's coming in the future. Like there was the rumor of the Ocarina of Time remake, but that's another remake. Where is the next big thing?
Yeah, 3D Mario will be big, Animal Crossing will be big.
But when
Pokemon
are those
would
happening?
right? Yeah, we don't know. Pokemon's the entry point, I think, for a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Yeah, that's true. I think we'll find out a little bit more about what Nintendo is cooking probably in the next month or so with like basically Summer Games Fest season. There'll probably be another proper direct that we'll find out, and that will be the catalyst for like a lot of people to jump on and be like, okay, they're teasing Animal Crossing. Like maybe I need to get ready because maybe by the time next Animal Crossing comes out, the Switch 2 is already more expensive because they've raised the prices again. So,
Mm.
yeah,
One
And
more thing
we
I'll say on this. Go ahead if you want to finish that
I
thought.
was gonna say we do have to remember too, and I don't know if like your vision of this is painted as much as it is Tom and I's, Lauren, but the last time around that we had a Nintendo console, we were really spoiled in the first year. Like we had
yeah,
Breath of the Wild and Odyssey, Super Mario Odyssey, within the first 6 months. Like it was from March
hmm
to Odyssey was October, which are two of the best games on that console right there, right away. And then we had Smash the following year. Like it was a very very fast and frequent release cycle in that first 12, 18 months. This to me feels way more traditional, even like Sony and Xbox. Like this feels about as light as what we've gotten from them typically in the first year of a new console. So I think it's all coming. I think they're sitting on some stuff.
hmm
Yeah, the last thing I'll mention is that the price increase is happening in September, in at least in our markets. So I think that's a really generous leeway. A lot of the times they'll be like price increase happening in like 2 days, and you have
yeah.
to scramble and things are sold out, and you just have no chance. You have to make that decision. And now people at least have 5 to 6 months to be like, okay, I'm going to budget this amount, and then like buy it at this time. It won't like overwhelm, I think, demand, which is good. Although in Japan,
So
it's clearly out of control because it happened on the
yeah,
25th of May.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Ocarina of Time remake October then probably, maybe even September. Line them up.
Could be. Could
Could
be.
be.
Be a good way to sell those consoles. Yes, things are getting more expensive, but we'll continue marching on. That's the end of the news this week. Tom, Drew, give us the outro.
It's the news we choose. Yeah.
And it is time to get into the blood and guts of the episode, I'll call it this week, not the meat and potatoes. Our Mortal Kombat 2 movie review. Another movie review here on the show. Last one was just about a month ago with the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And we're here yet again with Mortal Kombat 2. We'll do a quick intro in case you've never heard of what this thing is. And then we'll get into general thoughts and our spoiler-filled thoughts as well. Mortal Kombat 2 is now playing in theaters worldwide, a sequel, obviously, to 2021's Mortal Kombat, and the fourth overall movie based on the Mortal Kombat games. Directed by Simon McQuoid and written by Jeremy Slater, it stars returning cast members Jessica McNamee, Josh Lawson, Ludi Lin, Mikad Brooks, Louis Tan, Damon Harriman in a different role. Don't know what role that would be.
He was the wizard guy.
Yes. Yep. Chin Han, Tanobu Asano, Joe Aslim, and Hiroyuki Sanada, with Carl Urban, Adeline Rudolph, and Tati Gabrielle joining the cast. The film follows martial arts actor Johnny Cage as he's recruited by the Thunder God Raiden and Sonya Blade to join his fellow Earthrealm fighters in an interdimensional tournament against the Outworld Warriors and stop the tyrannical Emperor Shao Kahn with the help of Edenian Princess Katana. It is currently sitting at a 64% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 90 audience score. We've all seen Mortal Kombat 2. A few days before the rest of us, but we'll get into that. Lauren, you were lucky to see it early. What did we think? General thoughts and feelings of Mortal Kombat 2, and I guess where do we stand with the Mortal Kombat movie and game franchise overall? What is our kind of history with it? Lauren, we'll go to you first.
Okay, so yeah, my thoughts here are going to be purely based on what I've seen in the movies because I don't have any history with the Mortal Kombat games. I don't think I've ever played one, not even at an arcade. I have a very basic knowledge of the characters, mainly in research for the movie. So I'm kind of judging this based on what has been put on the screen in front of me. And as a viewer of the movie, not necessarily a big fan of the games because I just don't have that kind of history. So I'll lead on you guys for that. But I watched the first Mortal Kombat movie the night before I saw the second one. I rented it on, I don't know,
As
Apple
one does.
or whatever. Yes. And did not like it at all. I just thought it was super bland and generic and not really compelling. And I ended up kind of watching it out of the corner of my eye because I just was not really engaged. And I think the second movie is an improvement, but it still has all the same problems for me. I think they made some good decisions, and I think they definitely got some upgrades with the sequel, but it still to me just feels like a really generic kind of 2010s blockbuster. It kind of giving Batman vs Superman, and not in a good way.
My brain went Transformers or Michael Bay Ninja Turtles or the G.I. Joe movies. I'm like, this is filling that same void.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people that's going to be fine because they are just there to see a bunch of fight sequences amongst characters that they like. But for me as a viewer, I was kind of bored. I was just sort of like, I'm just not really engaged in this. I'm like enjoying the fights when they're happening and the fatalities and things like that. But I was kind of checking my watch to see how much longer there was because I was like, I can see where this is going. It's super predictable. So I think it was a slight improvement. And I will say I had kind of high hopes because I'd seen a clip of this at New York Comic Con last year. And I was like, oh, this actually, like, this is good. Like, the crowd is into it. The panel that they did was very engaging. I was like, I think this could be the saving grace. The scene they showed us, which we will talk about later, was the Baraka fight. Arguably one of the best scenes in the movie. So I could see why they showed that and why it got me interested, but that just wasn't the standard that the entire movie was at.
Tom, what are your thoughts, feelings, and history with the franchise?
Yeah, so I have a little bit of history with Mortal Kombat, but not like a ton. I've played like a decent amount, like on arcades and people's friends' house. So I like the franchise well enough. I like some of the characters. It's a fun game to dick around in, basically. But I'm not super like invested in the lore. I know there's like story modes and stuff, and things sort of happen. But I'm not judging the movie based on that. I'm kind of like basing it on like I know these characters like kind of well enough. I know some of their moves, so it's cool to see those. But yeah, going to the first movie because I watched it back when it came out. Yeah, I was sort of like similar to Lauren. I was like, the movie just felt super generic. They had like the Cole Young OC character who's like kind of the self-insert.
But he's a descendant of Scorpion, Tom.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right? He can absorb punches or something and redirect the energy. I mean,
He's got
okay.
sticks.
Yeah, Scott Sticks. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I just came away from the movie being like, this just seems it's just kind of boring. Like some of the fight scenes were all right, but they don't even do Mortal Kombat in that first movie. So coming to the second movie was like I was, interested, but at the same time, kind of like, oh, is this going to be more of the same? And I do feel like it is a bit of an improvement, similar to Laura was saying. Yeah, it's like the movie's okay. I just like I feel like they could have done more. And I think it comes down to the fact that the story is paper thin. There's basically no story. It is like just kind of excuses to pit these characters against one another. And I guess like that is Mortal Kombat is the tournament. So you don't really need much of an excuse. Like that's the whole premise. Um but yeah, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more. I mean, the action is pretty good for the most part, but then some of this movie also looks very bad, which I guess is down to the budget because it was only like 80 million compared to like a $200 million blockbuster. So there are definitely corners cut, which is a shame because I feel like if they had improved some things, I would have felt a little bit higher on it if at least like visually it looked a little bit better than it does at points. Um, but it's fine. Like it's yeah, I'm not like mad at it. I was expecting it to be like complete ass to be honest. So the fact that I came away from it being like, okay, that was some moments that I enjoyed is kind of at least it's got that going for it. So, but yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, my history with Mortal Kombat as a franchise, I don't really have one at all. I also have never played a Mortal Kombat game. Of course, I've heard like all the glowing things specifically about the story modes in the most recent entries into the franchise. Something I do have a history with in Mortal Kombat is looking at the fatalities every time a new one of these games has come out. My 13-year-old brain just goes on YouTube and looks at all of them because they're just absolutely ridiculous. And that to me is kind of where I come into this movie and had quite a bit of fun with it. I saw the first film about 48 hours before. Actually, I watched almost all of it in a hotel room about a month ago in Seattle, and was like, "This is awful," and then did not retain a single thing from it apparently. Because when I rewatched it this past week, I was like, "Oh, what? Like this? My brain was just must have been mush." So watched it while I was working this past week, and it just is not good. The first Mortal Kombat, the reboot 2021, I was not a fan of. They do my cardinal sin in these sort of things where it is that, hey, you know all those characters you know and love from the games. Well, what if you followed someone who isn't one of those? It's just this original creation. I thought the action in it was quite generic. I thought the story in that one is just like completely piss poor. The second one, I'm gonna say, like, I kind of like quite a bit. I think it's like a 2-star movie. Like, it's not good. I compared it to the Transformers films and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. I like those movies. They're not good movies. They're junk food. They are candy. I like watching my action figures smash together. I think the action in this movie is better than the first one. There's a couple fights in here that I'm genuinely like, this is creative and fun and so cool. It's just, as you said, Tom, the second we leave any of those action sequences and start even trying to tell a story, it is paper thin. It just isn't there. Like, okay, so we have these 5 things up in the sky. We have the champions. The tournament has started. Okay, and we have this kind of lore backstory with Katana. Okay, I get that. I did like the new additions to this movie. I think Katana's a fun addition. I really like that. I think Tati Gabrielle as Jade was really cool. I'm unsure about Carl Urban. I think that at points he's really good as Johnny Cage. At other points, I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this. I think they leaned a little more in this movie into what it is, which is a Mortal Kombat movie. We're going to have dumb quips. We're going to have these bloody kills that's going to make the audience go, ooh, and there's only a couple of them in here. And I don't know if you're going to get a better Mortal Kombat movie than this. Like, I do really feel like this is kind of what this is.
I completely disagree.
You
But we'll
think
get
do
to
you
that.
think so? What would you do? Like, what's the biggest change, Lauren, if you were to pop the hood open in Mortal Kombat 3? What can we do? Like, I just don't think there's this world has anything I don't
I
know.
d
Like
I don't think it can be salvaged in its current form. I think it would
okay.
need to be a complete start over. What I would do is, like, because the main thing that I was thinking is, like, yeah, like, we can excuse away that there's no good story because the game is just a bunch of fight scenes and there's not a huge amount of stuff to dig into there. But then I look at something like Arcane, which is primarily just character-driven MMO battles, and they weave this incredible, deep, rich lore story out of it into a series that's probably one of the best, not just video game adaptations, but just stories and media in general, in my opinion. And I'm like, you could have done that here too.
The
Like,
funny thing is the modern games have a like from what I know and from what people have told me, they genuinely have good stories to them. It's like it's the Injustice team. Those Injustice stories are amazing.
mm.
So there is lore. I just like I don't know. I don't know if you could do anything better on the screen. Like I think a big part of those games is going into those cutscenes and getting that lore and then playing it. Whereas this, like, you are just sitting there waiting for the next action scene to start in these movies.
Yeah, so it could be better if they fix the story. It's kind of, and you know, there will
Yeah.
be a Mortal Kombat 3. I just think
Oh,
that it will
100%.
happen. Like,
100%.
they've
They're going to
definitely
hell.
set themselves up for it.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of the stuff. I think in particular I want to bring up, like, we have another fighting movie coming out this year, Street Fighter. We don't know what that's going to be like, but we have a couple of trailers, and all of us have been a little mixed on it. I think the trailer came out in Japan while we were there, and we were talking about it. I feel like, based on now having seen Mortal Kombat 2 and sort of judging off this trailer of Street Fighter, I think Street Fighter is going to do it better, because this movie just takes itself way too seriously. Like,
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be like, they put the stakes so impossibly high. Like, oh, it's the fate of the Earth realm and this and that. And I'm like, but then I just, like, you know, characters die, and because it's a fighting game, of course they're going to come back. And so there's just, like, it's the stakes are so impossibly high that they're impossible to relate to. And the characters sort of have, I mean, like, Johnny Cage gets a story in this movie, but no one else does. I still don't know really anything about Sonya Blade after 2 movies, or Raiden, or any of these. I forgot who's the son of who and who's related to who and all of this, because there's no explanation for it. And so I think yeah, it's just too busy having its characters explain the plot than it is actually investing in their relationships. And so, going back to Street Fighter, that's more of a vibes thing on Street Fighter, I think. I think they're just, like, having way more fun with it and leaning into the campiness of it. Whereas Mortal Kombat, I think, just is doing the opposite. It's just trying to be the big epic superhero movie with these heroes saving the world. And I'm like, but I just don't care about any of you.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me. Is like tonally, this movie, yeah, it wants to be that goofy, campy thing where Scorpion can be like, "Get over here" or whatever, and you can do all these like weird sort of things from the games. But it does want to take itself so seriously and like act as if it's like this really edgy like thing where the story should be taken seriously. But I think, yeah, you kind of nail it, Lauren. Like, I think these characters are so kind of like one note. You just don't really know anything about them. Like I thought, like you brought up Katana Klein. I thought she was like cool. And
Mm.
she's like, you know, the monkey brain part of me is like when she throws her katanas and they spin
Yeah,
in the air. I'm like, that's so cool. But like beyond that, I'm like, what is this
it's really
character? Like,
cool.
I just don't like her backstory is so like generic and one note. I feel like they if they spent their time fleshing them out a little bit more, even if because the cast is so massive and you kind of want to do that because fighting games have these wide expansive casts and you're going to kill some of them off too, obviously. So you want that, but I feel like if they focused a little bit more on the interpersonal relationships between just a couple of these characters, I think it would have been a bit more satisfying. But even like when certain characters dies, are we doing spoilers right now? By the
Yeah,
way,
oh yeah,
can I
yeah. It's all yeah.
okay, okay, cool. So when Cole Young
Yeah,
dies,
he went out. He went out like, oh my god, I cheered. I was so happy.
when Shao
Oh,
Kahn
poor
completely
Louis
demolishes
Tan.
him. Yeah, I feel bad for Lewis Tan. I think he's good,
I
but
like Lord,
he's
you
got
brought up
talent failure.
some of these characters. We'd have no idea if they could like people come back. Cole Young is God. Like he had his head smashed like a
He's-
watermelon, and then it wasn't enough. He had to kick him into the like vat of
Acid.
acid. They're like, there's
Oh,
nothing
he'll
left
be in
of
the
him.
nether realm. You know he will be.
Maybe. There's one Cole Young fan out there, but there's no like when people die, even though it's Cole Young, like people don't care about him. But like when other characters die, there's no
Jax.
reaction. That no
Yeah,
one
Jax was a
cares.
big
Like
one.
and like it's cool that the movie can do that because you should do that in a Mortal Kombat movie, whether you just kill people off. But like there are no stakes to it because they're like, oh yeah, we'll just get them from the Nether Realm
Well,
in the
because
next
we
movie,
don't
I
care
guess.
about these characters other than the fact that they have a name of the thing that we recognize. Like that, when
Mhm.
at the beginning of this movie, when we are introduced, or we and Carl Urban's Johnny Cage are introduced to this whole different universe. The first thing we see, we go to the Raiden Temple. Sonya Blade's there explaining everything that's going on, and she goes, "These are our three best champions," and it's Cole Young, and it's Liu Kang, and it's Jax, I
Jax.
think, fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or and all three of them, I'm like, I remember Jax and Cole Young because I just watched the movie. Liu Kang, I totally forgot the name of him. Who is he related to? What's going on again? And they're just like fighting like they're supposed to be the best champions that we have, but it's like this really like I don't really like what they're doing at all. They say some weird quip at each other, and it's supposed to like re-ingratiate the audience back to this world, and it just isn't like I don't care. Like I do not care. I just want you guys to go and kick each other in the head, which they gave us a lot of, but
But that
that's what I'm saying. We don't care about these
that does
characters.
not make a movie. Like, this
I
is the
know.
thing. There's a lot of people out there, I've seen it online, that people are hating on the critics who don't like this movie, and they're like, they don't know what the fans want, and this is like appealing to the fans. And I'm like, okay, but it's an adaptation of a game. If you want like more of the game, go play that. But that has to sell, it has to exist and work as a movie, and that's what we're judging it on. And there's a lot of this that doesn't work as a movie in its current form. So yeah, I think some character work, it was just really needed, particularly when you have such cool characters. Like, just give them a little bit of interpersonal history, give them some backstory. I think in the first movie, the little bit of it that I remember, it was Scorpion, right, who has the history with Bihan, and he's coming after his whole familial line and stuff like that. Cole Young has a family. I feel for them right now. I mean, this guy's just had his head smashing, but we never heard anything from them. I do think it was a smart pivot to like move away from him. Obviously, that was a very loud criticism of the first movie, so he kind of had to go, and to pivot to Johnny Cage. If we want to talk about Carl Urban for a minute, I thought he was good but not great. I think this movie definitely came out in May, maybe with synergy for the boys, because people are like really eager on seeing him in that right now, and then you can also see him in the Mortal Kombat movie. But he's not really like huge movie star material, I don't think. And yeah, he's definitely more movie star material than like Louis Tan was, and like Cole Young was, but his story as Johnny Cage is still really generic. And you've got this guy who he's like, I don't know how to fight, and then kind of just switches on because he remembers all his stunt training and his martial arts
Yeah.
from back in the day. And I'm
He
kind of like, there
remembers
was
he's
nothing.
Johnny fucking Cage.
It was so not earned, and I was just like, if you're gonna make him your lead character, he needs to, I don't know. It was so like, yeah, it was just really, like you've said, Tom, it was really one note about everything, and that was very frustrating. His accent,
Yeah.
It was rough.
Yes, accent's
That
rough. It's
it
so
was
bad.
rough. There was some where I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, he's got it. He's got it." There's the and then there would be a couple words, his A's, very
Yeah.
specifically his A's. It's like, there it is. That like, yeah, I was excited to see what Carl Urban could bring as a Johnny Cage like character. I think that this is like as you said, a smart decision to make him kind of the avatar for the audience in this film. I don't think that this movie could have gotten someone like Ryan Gosling, but I think like that would have that similar vibe to me would have been better for this character than where they went with Carl. But
Yeah.
we
I
have what
think
we have.
this also suffers because the way the movie is like structured, you start off with Katana, and then you
Mhm.
go to Johnny Cage's stuff, and he gets introduced as like the point of view character. He's like, oh, I'm not gonna do this tournament, and then he gets roped into it. But then you have this like really long sequence where you go into like the other battles. So it's like Liu Kang's fight, Cole Young's fight. I think it's Jax's fight as well, if I'm not remembering
Well,
incorrectly.
he's in one of the first fights, Johnny Cage, and he loses. Like,
Yeah,
out
but
of the
then after
tournament
that,
within the first 20 minutes of the movie.
yeah, and then after that, there's a long period where you just don't see him, like he's because you're focusing on these other fights, obviously. But I think that completely like I don't know, the pacing of that like completely removes him from the
Mm.
character. So I almost forgot that he was in the movie until like, oh yeah, now they're trying to like
Him and
bring him
Sonya
back
Blade
up
are
and
doing things.
yeah, and it's just like I think if they had paced it a bit better, maybe had given them a subplot of things to do while the others were fighting, so you have like a bit more of just developing that character a little bit alongside what everything else is going on. I think that maybe could have helped. I guess he would have maybe stunted like the momentum of those battles, but like yeah, I just don't think like for this movie being Johnny Cage's movie, I feel like he's not given like the right amount of time to feel like that arc is earned by the end of it.
Yeah. And you bring up as well, they kind of shared the like main hero, I guess, role with Katana.
Yeah,
And I actually found I agree, like her story was very thin as it was with all of the characters, but I found hers quite way more compelling than Johnny Cage's, like that she was raised under this tyrant and is now like secretly rebelling against him. And I found like her and Jade's friendship really interesting. Like I really actually thought they could have done more with that, because here you have these two best friends who've been raised together, and one is like her protector and the other is the princess or whatever. And now they're at a crossroads where it's like, I'm working for the other side. What are you going to do about it? But then it just never really paid off, and I think they had like such good nuggets of things that could have been expanded into, but that they just didn't really invest in.
But the
But you
fighting
know what
was
I would
really
invest
fun.
in?
What?
You know what I would pay money for? Kano and Johnny Cage road trip.
Kano was
Kano's
good.
the
I'm
best
glad
part
he
of the
was
movie.
back. Yeah, he's the when you talk about the comparisons with like Street Fighter in this movie, like he is the character in this film that feels like he could be pulled from what they're trying to do with Street Fighter. Like he's
yeah,
he's a lot of fun. I like him. It is very over the top and is very like I don't know, like he's the one who says the bad words and everyone laughs.
yeah.
But yeah, he's got a laser eye and that's really cool. I like that the him and the necromancer stuff I was actually genuinely like, okay, this is funny. Like, give me the eye, rolls the eye on the ground. He didn't have to roll it on the ground. Like that, it was stupid, but it was funny.
Yeah, I think if they that's the thing, if like I would have gone over the fact that like these characters are so one note if they were having a little bit more fun with it. Like I feel
That's why I
like
think Street Fighter is gonna be great.
yeah, because
Exactly.
they are leaning into it. Like those characters are so over the top. You don't really need to delve into that much with them. I'm sure they're going to do a bit of that with Ryu and Ken, but like a lot of these characters are probably just going to show up and be like, "I'm Dulcim. I'm a stretchy guy," and that's all you need to know about him, really. But I feel like because these, I mean, Sonya Blade's just a woman who like shoots what like rings out of her.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anything about her. So if they're given, I don't know, like one like really defining trait for each of these characters, I feel like I would have bought in a little bit more with each of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as an Australian, I think Kano is a delight. I think he brings so much fun to the film where it's sorely needed. And he
Hmm.
unlocked something primal in me where I walked out of the cinema with a Bogan accent and felt like I was back. Like I saw with another Australian friend, we were just cackling because some of the things he says, you might definitely like homeland references. So um, I just really, I mean, I attached to that. But yeah, he again, we don't know anything about him. He's a mercenary. I don't know, but I think yeah,
Probably.
he represents what it could be and what it
Yeah.
needs more of. And unfortunately, yeah, I am glad he came back, and I hope that he's around in the next one as well.
Also, everyone they resurrect comes back as this like weird devil with the black eyes, except for him.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
I missed the portion of the movie where that was explained. Like, why is he not
I
like
don't.
when Kung Lao comes back? He's like
Mm.
all pissy and angry and wants to murder everybody.
I think he's just so Australian that he
Yeah,
counteracted any of
the
that.
genes,
He just,
the genes.
yeah, he just like no, I'm Kano and I'm not compromising. So
I will say, like Kano, like there were some high moments in this film for me. Like a lot of the action I loved. Like I just the fight scenes when they did start. I think that specifically I've written down here the Kung Lao Liu Kang fight with the weird swirly background. Which again, when we go to these places, do we need to explain what's going on and some of it? Why is Sonya Blade fighting this woman in a big pit of spikes? I don't know. But why are these two dudes fighting at this weird portal at the end of the world? but what they do, like some of the action stuff they do in this movie is quite fun and creative. All the hat stuff with Kung Lao,
Yeah.
where he's like throwing the hat and teleporting out of the hat, and the way that fight ends, where it's like there's been a fatality in one of the games, or in the games for the last couple of them, where Kung Lao puts the hat down and then pulls a person by the legs right through it, and we get a fun play on that and the way that it ends. I liked the Baraka fight was another one that I really liked.
Yeah.
Even the katana Shao Kahn stuff at the very end of the movie I thought was fun. And this movie had a lot more action for me to like. Whereas in the first film, there are moments of it. Sub-Zero freezing the blood, stabbing the dude with his own blood. That's still one of the coolest things movies has ever done. The Hollywood Walk of Fame should get a star specifically for that moment. But this movie, I think if you were to look at the pie chart of action versus anything else, I think is going to be larger than what we got in the first film. And I think that's why I'm resonating with it more, because the action, the dumb cartoony action figure stuff, it's stupid. And the motivations I don't really care about. But when you do something fun, creative action wise, I sit up in my seat a little bit.
Yeah, like when they talk, it's boring. So yeah, the more fights we get, the better. And there were definitely some really good ones. Like I think when I think of the first movie, there's none that really stand out visually in my mind. Whereas here it's like, oh, I can see that underwater cabin with the acid, and I can see that swirling blue portal, and I can see when they're like fighting around the volcano lava area. Like they're video game levels. It's very cool. But I think there's still something about the action that's just so generic about it all. Like it's not like what I'm picturing sort of the Street Fighter movie is going to be like, where it has a bit of style in its camera movements and its editing and its pacing, and the music is just kind of like, you have
Oh, they
such
don't
good music in Mortal
they
Kombat.
don't
Why
use
aren't
it
you
enough.
using it?
We got the
Yeah.
theme twice.
Oh,
And
missed
one of it was
opportunity.
over the credits.
That's it.
Yeah,
I was like, when the
that's a
credits
shame.
music came on, I was like, this is so good.
I
Where was
know.
that throughout the
Oh,
movie?
they
That's the
just use
best.
that
Do
as
they
the score. It'd be amazing. They use it
honestly bet
once
every fight?
early
Yeah.
on when like Johnny Cage is fighting, when he loses. It plays like a little like ting of it, but that's it. And then we get it later.
Oh
I
yeah.
think maybe during the Shao Kahn katana fight, and then definitely over the credits.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Did they use it in the first movie? Like I remember
Yeah,
them
a little
using it.
tiny bit. But again, that was
Okay.
another complaint I have about the first film, just not nearly enough. That is one of the greatest video game themes of all time. If you have it, use it. Use it every 15 seconds.
Yeah, genuinely, I think the movie would have been bumped up by like a full star if they had used it in every single fight, because it's like it goes so hard.
Anything else? Funny video game Easter eggs. The Johnny Cage wobbling, Shao Kahn yelling, "Finish
Oh yeah.
him!" and she misses her input though, so they don't do the fatality there. Ed Boon shows up.
Boone shows up. That got a
Pretty
cheer
cool.
in my crowd.
Did it?
Oh really?
There was
Yeah.
definitely some people in my showing that were like, Ed Boon's face pops up, and there was like a like this gasp, like like Cap just picked up the hammer at the end of Endgame.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think like I would have been a bit more surprised if they hadn't. They spoiled that in one of the trailers. Like Ed Boon, that Ed Boon
Did
cameo
they?
is yeah, that's
Oh.
one of the trailers. So when I was researching for the movie, like I just saw that, I was like, oh, okay, that would have been nice to discover. But yeah, I mean, all of that video game stuff. Like I think in terms of adapting that stuff, I think it's cool. Like I mentioned, like some of the moves that they do, I think they like it's ripped directly from
Yeah,
the
the
games, and I
katana
think
spinning of the fan is a big one.
like
The
that's so
move that
cool.
Johnny Cage does to kick the amulet at the very end, his hero moment,
Yeah.
is his shadow kick, which is where he slides on the ground and like kicks up. So
He has the nut punch too, right?
he does have the
Yeah.
nut punch. He does the middle finger glasses thing all the
Yeah.
time in his character intros. Like
Yeah.
if you are looking for those Easter eggs, and obviously none of us are Mortal Kombat scholars, so we probably missed a ton of things. That's why I am more excited for something like Street Fighter, where I'm more familiar with like the characters and the moves, the world, the punching the car mini game that shows up in the trailer. So and it's the same thing with like the Mario movies. Both those movies I don't think are very good, but those Easter eggs are so much fun. And as a Nintendo fan, I freak out even if the movie's not that great.
I do think the fatalities were a lot better in this movie. Like just like, I mean, Cole Young, at least he got a good death.
Yeah, he gets annihilated, man. It's
It's
crazy.
Yeah,
like
the Sonya
dropping a
Blade fight
watermelon.
with the pit of spikes, you're like, oh, I know exact. Someone's getting impaled through the head
Yeah.
on one of those, and you just sort of wait for it. And I think that the movie does have a lot of that, where you're like the situational environments. You're like, this is going to end in something good. Like the razor blade hat, you're like, someone's getting amputated with that or something. Even not knowing the games, so I think it
Mhm.
has a lot of that going for it. But then I think, actually, I can't remember what I think.
Katana slicing Shao Kahn as he's like falling down, and then his face and neck fall into like separate pieces all on the ground. It's pretty
Insane.
cool.
Yeah, it's
That was
crazy.
the only one in the entire movie that got in like a ooh from the crowd, because he like his body like kind of like hunches down, and you just see exposed brain and blood just
Ugh.
like spurting out.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's
yeah,
grim.
this is fun. It was actually funny. I was sitting, the only other people in my row were a father and his like 8-year-old son.
Oh my god.
I know. I
It is
was
an
like,
R-rated
man,
movie.
yeah, it was an
Yeah,
R-rated
man.
movie. If you took away all the fatalities from this movie, though, like it is ultimately just like it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It's a
Yeah,
Transformers
it's a
movie,
Marvel
but
movie.
it's all the F words and the blood and the guts and the fatalities.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
it is
100%.
the thing I've always found with Mortal Kombat specifically is the gore and stuff is so over the top that it's almost like less offensive, because it's like
Yeah.
so cartoonish that it's just like,
Like,
I don't know.
Scorpion cuts Noob Saibot in like half, and it's just
Yeah, he
like he looks
does.
like a floppy, looks like a floppy guy, and it's just like I didn't even bat an eye. I'm just like, yeah, he just did that.
Yeah,
Sure.
there's who was it, punches a hole right through somebody, and they just have like the
Oh
big
yeah,
hole. That was the Sonya Blade fight, and then she knocks her over and head
Oh, it's
right onto the
yeah, of
spike.
course. Yeah, it's just
Mhm.
it's great.
Yeah, there was
but
some
then she
stuff Shao
comes
Kahn,
back
she does come
immediately
back.
Yeah,
after.
they were.
Mhm.
I think she got revived by the Necromancer guy.
Oh, okay.
Who's
Yeah,
also a character from the games, but I'm forgetting his name. The stuff Shao
yeah,
Kahn did with Katana's dad, where he had like the sword, his like knives, and like stabbed his hands onto the knives and then pulled them out so he just had no fingers. It's just the grossest, but I don't know. The sick part of me was like, yeah, more.
Well, that's the
more, give
thing. Like these moments of like huge adrenaline in the movie, like they kind of distract from the fact that there is not a whole lot going on.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
and I
pretty much.
think by two movies now, the Mortal Kombat franchise has announced itself. We know what we're getting now. I don't think we can expect much variation from here on, depending on how many more movies they do. I think there will definitely be a third one. I don't know if it'll end at a trilogy or not. But I think it's like it is that junk food of like I'm just gonna go and smooch my brain off and watch some people fight, and you just have to be okay with that.
Mhm.
Mhm. There are ways to do that though, and like get a good movie. Like I would credit things like the later John Wick movie, like John Wick 4, I think is like has some of the best action in movies of all time, but and I'm still connected to the mythology, I'm connected to this character, connected to this world. Mission Impossible films, another thing where it's like we're gonna
Mhm.
do a lot of crazy over the top action that's got this like narrative connective tissue. So you don't have to switch your brain off for all of it. I don't know.
Yeah, be nice to have
I'm just
something
not sure
different.
we're not getting that here.
No, 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 definitely not.
No.
No. But it knows what it is. What are we giving it? 5-star scale. I said mine. I think it's 2. I think I'll give it a 2. I gave the first one 1.5.
Yeah. I'll probably give it a 2.5. Maybe it'll go down. I'll see, but I'm feeling 2.5. It's fine. Like it didn't like offend me or anything. And is some fun to be had it. But I wish it was a little bit better, you know.
Lauren?
I think I gave it 2 on Letterboxd as well. It just has for me the cardinal sin is being bored, and I was bored.
That is our Mortal Kombat 2 review. You can let us know what you thought about Mortal Kombat 2 over on social media. You can also tell us what you've been playing over there. We've been playing some games over the last week or so, one of which came out this past week, Mixtape. It's finally here, the latest from Beethoven and Dinosaur, a wonderful Australian studio. I don't know if you knew that, Lauren. Coming off the one of my favorite games of the last few years, Artful Escape, which was this like 2D platformer set to this like fake Jimi Hendrix character's music. Very cool, bit of an experience, not as much of a game. This is very much the same thing. You're playing as 3 friends on the last day, really, of teenagehood, where they're going to go off and venture off into whatever's next, whether it be college or pursuing a career. We play as one character who it's her dream to be a music supervisor in movies, which was always something that I was like, that'd be something I would be really, really interested in. But what do you guys think about Mixtape? Have we all played it? Have we all finished it? What's going on?
Well, I will admit this was on my radar, but I was not originally intending to play it day one. But then two things happened. I saw these incredibly glowing reviews, particularly from people, like I follow a lot of people in the Australian gaming space, and they are all raving about it, and I trust their opinions. So I was like, oh, okay, this might be something to keep an eye on. And then I found out that it's like a 3-hour game and that it was only like $25. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I did sit down and play it in. I did it in two sittings, but yeah, that's why I ended up diving into this on day one rather than waiting, and I'm very glad I did. But Klein, honestly, I think that this game was like made in a cave with your DNA, so I feel like I want to know what you think.
Yeah, sure, I can share. Tom, have you finished it? You played it? You got into it as well?
Similar to Lauren, like I saw the reviews, saw it was short, saw it was cheap. I'm like, I'll play it over 3 hours. Let's do it.
Yeah, so for me, this has been on my radar since we saw that first trailer. Takes place. It's really kind of unclear where and when it takes place, because it is like, it seems to be Northern California, early 90s maybe. So definitely not the way that I grew up, but just seeing the soundtrack and the art style, that first trailer, it harkens back to so many things that I love. Coming of age stories, those classic 80 movies, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But what I found in this game was it connected with me even more on a greater level than even just that. Like, I have some love of this kind of music and that sort of thing, but playing through this game, this is the most hyper specific version of my friendship. Like, I had two best friends as a teenager, and this was us. Like, these three were us. I had Matthew and Haley, and we would just sit in Haley's bedroom listening to music similar to this and plotting out road trips, going out into the forest and getting up to no good, riding around on bikes. It wasn't skateboards, staying out to all hours of the night. And it was funny because I was emotional because, obviously, as you said, Lauren, this game was made for me in a cave. The music is so awesome. It's just like, it's such a cool, unique experience that I'm not even going to say is that great of a video game, because it's more like interactive art, as opposed to, like, you're not at the same time as this, I'm playing Uncharted 4. That's a video game. Like, that is there's a lot of very, very, like, the active problem solving. There's not really many problems to solve in this game. It is kind of like, you walk up to an item, it starts a thing, and then you have some level of interactivity in whatever this experiential piece is going to be, whether it's skateboarding down a hill or flying through the sky or jumping through a field. There are a couple little things, slingshots make an appearance and stuff like that, but it made me miss my friends more than like any piece of this kind of coming of age media has before. Like, I literally finished the game crying, and I was like, I want to call Matt and Haley, like, because like it was so it so resonated with me. And I think this is a really, really special game. I haven't really felt like a game or like this about a game like this since Journey, the first time I played it. Like, that's kind of the closest comparison point I keep coming back to, even though in this game you are listening to the sounds of Devo and Jesus and the Mary Chain and all of these great musicians, and not just Austin Wintory's amazing Journey score. But it does feel very much like that, where I felt like this game, I went through like a cathartic ride through it. And I think the characters are so well written. You really, really, really buy into them by the end of it, and buy into the drama. I do have like a couple very, very tiny nitpicks. There's, right towards the end, I would say, like, two character moments that happen very soon after one another. There's kind of a big betrayal, let's say, and a big coming back together very, very quickly. I think that's just a runtime thing ultimately. Like, I think that we were running out of time, but it's a magical experience, and I genuinely can't wait to play through parts of this game with other specific people in my life. Like I just want to sit down, and when you beat the game, there's a very good chapter select that opens up. Like I want to be able to sit down and be like, hey, like let's play through the running away from the party section, or let's play through I love the filming of the camcorder party stuff as well. Like I think that there's so many just like fun little bits in this, and Artful Escape to me wasn't for everyone. I think I can recommend this to just about anybody, whether they have experience playing games. Like I think that there would be obviously some troubles of like figuring out where buttons are, but this is a game that someone like Gabby, who's a very, very casual gamer, I'm like, you need to take 3 hours and just play this on your own. Put headphones in and just go through it front to back, because it is like, this is the whole thing that this video games are art, and this is a perfect example of what that actually means. I loved it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's my game
Yeah.
of the year so far. I would be surprised if at the end of
Wow.
this whole thing, like I had a thought, Tom, and I need to ruminate on it. I think this is my favorite game of the PS5 generation, not named Astrobot.
Wow. That is a big claim. That's a big claim. Yeah, I mean, because I'd heard like so much about this game, and like and I, to be honest, like going into it, because I didn't really know the background of the studio, like I didn't really know what to expect from it. I knew there was going to be like skateboarding, I knew there was going to be like teenage vibes and that sort of stuff. But yeah, going into it and then coming out of it, this game just made me feel very sad. I just felt very sad playing this game. Like you see these characters and like their memories of each other, and you play through those memories, and like it just feels so like nostalgic, even though like you say, Client, I didn't grow up in this kind of like generation, but it like resonated in terms of like the feelings of, you know, being a teenager, having friends and going to school and getting into crazy weird situations. And I really loved it. I thought like the characters are so well developed, because you do see where they come from, where the conflict in some of them lies, and how that, you know, comes to a boiling point, and the fact that it all takes place in this kind of like one day essentially in their lives, I thought was like, yeah, just like a really cool experience. It does feel like more so like this interactive kind of experience rather than playing a game, which is interesting, just kind of because you kind of just watch things play out. Like there are bits you can like fill slushies or play as a drunk guy in a rental DVD store, and you're knocking stuff over, and
It's one of my
I love
favorite
that.
sections.
So I spent like a good 5 minutes just knocking things over in that.
When
I
he
thought it
gets
was
up
so
to the
fun.
he like gets up to the cash register and he goes, "Oh yeah, the money."
So good. And yeah, like the writing is so funny and infectious. I think like I didn't
And
expect it
profound
to
at
like,
times. Like it literally opens with
yeah.
like, music is something you listen to, and then it becomes who you are. And it's
Yeah.
like everybody, no matter who you are, there is music that defines you as a human being. There's a whole monologue in there about like the the privilege of being loud, and loud has to be
Yeah.
earned. And they talk about a motorcycle, and they're like, motorcycles are loud that's been bought. And it's like that's a profound, deep, deep stuff right there. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, whether you experienced this era or like this specific, even like this specific part of the world, like you will feel nostalgia playing this game. Like it is, I think, as you said, Tom,
Mhm.
nostalgia is a feeling. I pulled up Simon Cardy's review of this game because I think that it's, if you want, he's writes over at IGN. If you want an amazing, just like piece of writing about Mixtape, go look at it. But his first paragraph, he is from the UK, so this is a very, very American centered game. He writes, true nostalgia isn't a replication of a specific place or time, but a feeling. It's those flashes of emotion that transport us back into memories that have long sat dormant. I was born too late to be a teenager in the 1990s. I grew up thousands of miles away from the schools of Northern California. I've barely stepped onto a skateboard outside of a couple scraped knees in the summer of 2003, but none of that matters, and Mixtape knows it. Australian developer Beethoven Dinosaur fills each and every moment of its coming of age tale with incredible music, perfectly handpicked to set the tone for its free-flowing chapters in a way only nostalgia can. As original as it is reverential, it's a masterfully constructed dose of new memories hinged brilliantly on how they remind us of our own. It's like, that is what nostalgia is. Like that, it's, yeah, you
Yeah.
can look at the picture of Mario and go like, hey, I recognize Mario, but you're not recognizing Mario, you're recognizing the feeling that Mario makes you feel. And like,
Mhm.
that's what I think, that is, you want the quickest way into client's heart, that's how you do it. Like that is like the number one thing that I look for in my kind of storytelling. Is that's why I love coming of age stories so much.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren, Mixtape.
Were you done, Tom?
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that review and what you've both been saying is definitely resonating with me as well. I think what I found interesting is like this is an Australian studio and they chose to set it in America, I think. Yeah, it's sort of nondescript in this period of time where I imagine a lot of the developers didn't like live or grow up. Yet they've somehow managed to make like a universal experience. And I think just this game is just so beautiful and powerful and kind of simple in every single way. But the way it uses music and gameplay and interweaves it with character and story, it just like captures this vibe and bottles it. Like I can't really sit there and tell you what my last day of school was like or what it felt like leaving my friends before I like moved to Sydney or went off to uni and we had to separate. But then this game does, even though that's not me and those aren't my friends. It just has this way of like somehow there will be something for everyone in this, I think. And that's so rare. And then another thing that I was thinking about is like you guys both said it was kind of more of an art piece. It's a bit more of like an immersive experience. I'm not sure, like I think I have a different take on it, which is that this game isn't sort of like one for one with the reference I'm about to mention, but I think it does something creatively that Dispatch did in the way that it was so unbridled creativity. It so knew what it was doing and it so went 100% in a new direction that it opened my eyes to what a new type of game could be. Like I still think this is a video game. It's just like one that we haven't really seen before. There's a lot of people throwing around like Life is Strange and things like that. And I think it does have like a similar themes to Life is Strange, the way it captures human emotion and relationships. But it's still like, you know, the gameplay. People were complaining about like, what's the gameplay like? It's not a game. I'm like, it's hard to
vibes,
describe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel
Like it's a
this game.
series of interactions.
Yeah.
That elicit like even I don't know. I think it's masterfully crafted. The stop motion
the
art
stop
style.
motion, the
Yeah, it's so good.
the like stock footage, like the
multimedia
live
stuff
out
they
of
do.
gameplay stuff that they use in this is so
Right.
cool. And the way that they mix those things, like it reminds me of little bits of that Alan Wake sequence we've seen with like the live action video and things like
Yeah.
that. It's so cool, all the different mediums they are using.
Yeah, and I think for me, like the music, I just felt like the game was just encouraging me to open my mind and like I fully embraced that. And there was this music that I was like, this rocks. I've never heard of it before, but now I'm going to go listen to it. It was kind of, and I think if I am going to give like a reference, it was very Perks of Being a Wallflower to me. And that was like a seminal text growing up. And I think it's a seminal coming of age text for a lot of people. And they've kind of replicated a lot of that in video game form. And yeah, I think it's amazing.
Best makeout minigame in any game of all time.
Probably
the fact that there's a trophy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go for 60 seconds. So good.
It's insane. It's so funny.
Yeah. And I think that, I mean, I mentioned that there's like not a lack of interactivity. You're constantly interacting with this game, but it isn't like traditional. And if you showed your parents this and said, this is a video game, they probably would be like, what am I looking at? But I do want to commend them on this stuff that you are interacting with, like does move you. Like there's like, there's a moment at the end of this game that involves you physically having to let go of some buttons that is like, that moves the story forward. And it's like, this can only exist as a video game and affect me the way that it's affecting me right now. In a movie and a TV show, this moment would happen. I would be sad. You could do it. Music would swell. But the fact that I am the one that now has to actively participate in that thing. And I think there's been conversations about this with things like The Last of Us and things like that. And that's why so many of those moments are so emotionally effective, because you're the one who has to do it. And this does it in a very different way. It's pulling out a very different emotion. But it was just like, I was sitting here, I was a mess sitting here at my computer looking at this final screen, just like, man, like I can't believe I just played like probably the first great like, or I don't know, the first coming of age masterpiece in the video game space. Like, and it could only have been done in the video game space.
Yeah, and
Mm.
there's like that's combined with like the gameplay sequences that it makes you do like that, the interactive moments, but then also like really surreal stuff. I guess you can do this in film, but I haven't really seen it done in this way where it's like, yeah, you're like running through fields and you're jumping up and you're leaping through the air and you're flying around, and there's other
Mm.
moments where you're like, there's sequence where a character is like really sad and it's like floating backwards and you're like hitting
Oh,
all of these different things, and it's like I just I don't
and
know
the
how they
perfect song is
conceive of
playing.
this.
Like every
Yeah,
single one of
it's
these sequences
so
has the
good.
perfect soundtrack, which is just crazy. I guess I was
Mhm.
listening to an interview with them and they were saying that one of the ways they got all of this great music is they just told all the music supervisors that were associated with these various record labels and things like that, like, oh, it's about a music supervisor. And they were like, okay, like, we'll license this music to you, sure.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I loved that it was just so unexpected. You never knew what was coming
Mhm.
next. And
Yeah.
there is like, yeah, it was so simple. Like, you're right, there's not really like a big boss that you have to fight. There's no way to really like lose this game. It just sort of like allows you to embrace your choices. Like, even the simple thing, one that keeps standing out to me is painting the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, which I'm like, I wanna go back and do it again, like, and I love that you can do the chapter select and things like that, but there's just so many little moments that I'm like, there wasn't a single one that I didn't enjoy, and none of them overstayed their welcome, and I think you can't really get that across maybe in the marketing, like, I think the main thing people look at is like, "Oh, it's gonna be a skateboarding game," and that's just such a small part of what that is, and those moments are amazing too, but there's really just yeah, you just never know what you're gonna get next, but it will always elicit, like, a reaction from you, and I think that that's amazing.
Yeah. There's a particular sequence to do with a shopping cart set to a song by the 70s alt or like progressive rock band Rainbow that will live in my head forever. Like, or moment with the song The Touch from the animated Transformers movie soundtrack where you're in a
Yeah.
baseball stadium, and I'm like, "This is amazing what's happening right now." And there's just so many of these, like, little moments, headbanging in a car, and did I need to headbang to the beat of the music? No, I didn't, but did I? Yes, well, I 100% did. Like, it's so I this game really I don't even wanna say came out of nowhere because I was excited for it, but the level that it did hit, I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting this. I was not expecting I actually gave it a 10 out of 10. Like, it's the highest rated game of 2026 so far. Tom, it's on your fantasy critic team. I can't. I am so mad.
I'm so happy.
I
I'm
had
so
it
glad.
last year, but yeah, Mixtape, it's great. I would like, even if you I don't know why you'd be listening to this podcast if you're a very casual gamer. Even if you are like play 1 or 2 games a year, make sure Mixtape is one of those games in 2026 because it's so special and it's you can do it in the evening.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
That's
so
one of its
short.
real strengths. I'm like, this is proof that, like, video games don't have to be 50 hours to be worthwhile. Like, and they priced it accordingly, which I think is very cool of them because they could easily have priced this at, like, $80 and I still would have paid for it and enjoyed it the same amount. But I think it was cool that they priced it representative to the playtime, but the experience was worth so much more than the money that they put on it. I just want to point out one quick thing as well, gameplay wise, that I really commend them for. There are sections of the game where you are like walking around someone's room and interacting with things and having conversations. I loved that they flagged which item you interact with that will then progress the story. So you had a chance to go and look at
Yeah.
everything. I think that's such a small thing, but it's a thing that a lot of games miss. And I love that they included that. And I hope that more games do it because it's frustrating when you're like, wait, I didn't get to see everything in this room before the story moved on.
Mhm.
So yeah, more of that, please.
And there's so many good things to find in the rooms or like all these like big
Yeah.
open environments. There's so many just like little great nuggets of story hidden in there. But that's not the only thing we've been playing. Tom, TetherGeist. It is now officially out. We talked to these developers at PAX West last summer. You've been playing some of it. You've put your hands on it. How are we feeling about the final product? You didn't get to play it at PAX West, so I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I was kind of watching you play this over your shoulder, and I was very jealous. So yeah, TetherGeist, a new precision platformer, coming from Ownco Games. It's basically like a Celeste like, I suppose, very similar to that kind of vibe of a game. You play as this girl who has this ability to basically project herself, and you kind of teleport to the projection to kind of maneuver around the world. But unlike other people in her kind of village, she's restricted by this tether, hence the name TetherGeist, and that limits the kind of range of where you're able to teleport. So you can use it to maneuver around objects, but you're only able to go so far, which makes the platforming a little bit more challenging. And yeah, this game is awesome. I really love this game. I've only played a couple of hours, I'd say, so I've seen a decent amount, but not like the whole game by any means. But I really love the mechanics. I think they feel really fluid. Like using them, and then also when you die, because I mean, maybe it's just me, but I die a lot in this game, and you kind of reset your kind of area that you're jumping around in, and that whole process just feels like so fluid in terms of like you try a jump, you die, go back and try it again until you do it. And yeah, you will do it a lot of times, because the platforming at first, like, the intro tutorial section is like, it eases you into the mechanics, and you're like, okay, this is how you kind of do things. But as it goes on, the platforming can get really challenging. And also there are other like secrets that you can find and different paths you can go through, which adds another complete layer to the gameplay, which I thought was like really fun and exciting to like try to like use your abilities to their max, and teleport as far as you can, and platform around this world as much as you can, so you can see everything this game has to offer. They like introduce new power-ups as it goes on. So you have the tether initially, but then you also in the second world, for example, you get this like mushroom that you can pick up, and you like propel yourself when you go around these like jellyfish creatures. So it adds another kind of like momentum thing where it's like, okay, I'm gonna fling myself over here, then use the tether to kind of like wrap myself around another platform, and try and get up there. And it's like, yeah, it's like a really cool mechanic that I think is really. I'm interested to see like what other kind of stuff they throw at you as the game progresses. But yeah, it's just like, it's a beautiful game. The writing is also really good. Like, I was surprised like how much story this game actually has. There's one moment where I was like in this weird village, and like there's this whole weird storyline where the like torchbearer, like I guess there's like a tradition of like lighting things on fire, but he doesn't want to give up his role. So you're talking to like the town leader, and he's like, oh, just can you just whack him on the back of the head, please? Can you just do that for us? And it's like, she's like, no, I don't want to do that. I could just talk to him. And then this guy's like really insistent that he like wants you to whack this guy on the back of the head. So just weird like writing quirks, and like this world is so like, I know, vibrant and strange. Like there's like crazy creatures and stuff, and the pixel art like really exemplifies that. Like it's just gorgeous to look at. So yeah, like this came out basically a similar time to Mixtape, but hopefully it doesn't get overshadowed, because like this game is like super fun. If you're a fan of Celeste, like this is definitely something worth checking out. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. Definitely gonna see it through to the end.
When they came through with asking if we wanted code, I was like, sure. And they're like, what region? I said, well, North America or EU. We've got people with like Tom's based in the UK as well. And when they came back with the EU, I was like, one, excited you were going to get to play it because you didn't get to at PAX, and two, selfishly just like, I was really looking forward to playing that game. But I will support them and buy it on the Switch, because I really liked what I played at PAX. The thing that I found most interesting, and they keep talking about this in their marketing, is they're calling it like either a no combat game, or they have some like good marketing term for it. How has that felt as somebody like you who does play a lot of platformers in general, and not really coming up against, like, there's no combat in this game, there's no enemies. The only way you can really fail is if you fall into a pit.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's nice to have like the main focus just being like, okay, this like platforming challenge is all you need to be worrying about. I don't feel like I need to fight a massive boss battle to get like a massive amount of satisfaction. I think just like clearing these like little platforming segments is like enough to like scratch that part of my brain and giving me that dopamine hit of like, okay, now another one and another one, another one. So I think it's cool. It makes the game a lot more. I mean, there are bits that have frustrated me in terms of like, just because it's like, this is so difficult, but I want to overcome this. But it makes the game like a lot more chill, which is reflected like in the art style and everything like that. But like, I don't know. I think it's like got this really nice vibe to it. I think it was kind of a smart decision to not have to add like another element of like combat to this. Like, I don't think this needs that necessarily.
Cool. Very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to see what specifically the speedrunning community does with this game, because that
Oh
was something
yeah,
we talked to them about when we were at PAX, and something that, as I've seen more of this game, the speedrunning community is going to have a field day with it, and I can't wait to see. It's gonna sound silly, but I can't wait to see how they break it. Like, how fast can
yeah.
we get through all of these platforming challenges? Because I think that's the sign of a good platformer. Is it's like, now how can I start to optimize it even more to get through these sections faster and faster and faster? But yeah, it's out on Nintendo Switch right now, Steam as well. Go get that Owen Co games, friends of the show. I'm really happy that it's out and you're enjoying it, loving it. Comment corner. Before we get out of here, Tom, do we have any comments to shout out here on the show?
Yeah, just a couple here. One on our last episode where were we were our own Miranda Priestleys and we were judging gaming fashion, and Ryan Cortera, our boy, just comes in to say hashtag justice for Sora. His big shoes, big trousers or big shorts, I guess, outfit. Sora, he's got a look and I guess he makes it work. But we also got another comment here from at Cladlock on our 200th episode, the Japan episode, and just says, "Keep grinding, people. Congrats on 200 episodes." So thank you very much, Cladlock. We will keep doing that, I guess. So yeah, thanks for your comments.
Yeah, as long as Lauren is willing to put up with Tom and I, we will keep doing this forever and ever and ever. This week's comment corner question of the week: what did you think of Mortal Kombat 2? You can let us know over on socials, where you can also chime in on our New Game Plus Video Game Book Club Game of the Month, the game for May. We are recording this on the 10th anniversary of this game, Uncharted 4, A Thieves End. I have started it. You guys, we're dipping our toes in, getting back into the Nathan Drake feel of things.
Well, I got some things to do with Leon first, and then I'll get to Uncharted.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that next week. Yeah.
Very cool. You can follow the show at Controller Club Pod on Instagram and Blue Sky, at Controller_Club on Twitter, and at Controller.club on TikTok. Also, if you're listening to us right now, we do a video version of the show. It goes up on YouTube each and every week. Head on over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, ring the bell, leave us a comment, thumbs up. It really helps us out, and rate, review us wherever you're listening right now. 5 stars. Tom, where can people find you? What do you have going on in your life? Let them know.
Yeah, you can find me at Tom Girard, Instagram, Blue Sky, basically over on the internet. Not much to promote. I'm just looking at my desk. I have a Gundam from Japan that I've still not built yet. Maybe I'll build that and post that up at some point. I think that could be fun. See if you want to see a Gundam, find with Tom Girard.
Excellent. Lauren, what about you? What do you have happening, and where can people find it all?
You can follow me at lrouse19 on Blue Sky, TikTok, etc. Yeah, I don't really have anything to promote right now except for this lovely podcast.
Great stuff. And you can keep up with me as always. I'm at the Kleinfeld, TheKleinfelt. That's everywhere: Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter. That's going to wrap up this episode of Controller Club. As always, thank you so much for listening and watching. Now, let's get gaming.